Welcome to this BVTV Stewards of the Future Trilogy, coming to you from the UK Studios of BizVision. I'm your host, Malcolm Gallagher. For over 20 years, I've strenuously tried, sometimes frustratingly, to bring to the attention of boards or C-suites societal issues that need to be addressed and be on their agenda. And that's beyond their usual shuffling of backward-looking reports. I reckon it's comeuppance time for those who ignored me. My guest today says that only 70% of boards are competent to handle looming issues. And in my experience, I'd say that number is a bit too high, especially in certain sectors. So let's get the lowdown by meeting the author of this great book, Stewards of the Future, a guide for competent boards. Welcome, Helle Bank Jorgensen. Hello, Helle.
Thank you so much, Malcolm. And Malcolm, I have to tell you, the 17% that you're talking about, you're actually right. It's not as much as because these 17% was actually of board members that serve on a committee to oversee sustainability issues, ESG issues, climate issues. So, but the number is going up, and I'm doing my best to train board of directors and others to get that number even further up. So
I have to congratulate you on this book because as I said before we went live, that it's a manual. Now, Helle, the Great Resignation, with millions of people leaving their jobs, has been said to have been caused by dissatisfaction in the direction and even the culture of the company, especially its leadership. Today, there are often 4 generations of workforce in a business, and people like millennials and Generation Z have a more societal thinking about the management. So why aren't boards responding?
Do you mean that you and I do not have that? Us young people, I hear what you say, and boards are actually responding. I think many would have loved to have responded faster. When the pandemic hit, I wrote this article about, cash is still king, but care is queen. And looking back, I actually think I was wrong, because I think care was actually the thing that should have been king, if we could put it like that. And for the reason that we have seen so many companies that if they haven't got that care for the employees, but frankly also for other stakeholders, if they don't fully understand the trouble that many find themselves in, being that mental health, being that, thinking about how are we going to be infected in different ways, then you're not going to have the employees that you want. Yes, we're seeing the Great Resignation, which means that you are not actually going to make your cash. So I'll take back what I said, that cash is still king and care is queen, and say it should probably have been the other way around.
Well, let them share the throne together, should we say?
Yes, that's fair. That's fair. That's diversity, right? So I hear you, and I think we're seeing a lot of companies, a lot of boards and board members that are asking into these questions. As I said, wanted to have done that a bit earlier. But we could also, Malcolm, turn it on its head and say that this is a positive thing, because you start to see these employees, and yes, it might be some of the younger one that says, I want to work in a place where I feel the purpose is the same as my purpose. I feel the values are the same as I feel that there's an understanding for the struggles, that different things. So I feel that there is respect for my personal identity and all of those other matters that we actually say that we would like to see in society. So we've been saying that, money vote with its feet in terms of where do we put our money, but so do employees, right? And so you can say, yes, it's a huge issue. I just saw that Larry Fink, the chair of BlackRock, the world's largest asset managers, actually just addressed the Great Resignation also in his CEO letter. and talk about that North Star, talk about that purpose, that sense of purpose that he's been talking about for a while, and how important that is to not only to retain talent, but also to attract the talent. So I would say for those companies that have a purpose, that have values that others can see themselves in, that are part of the solution, I actually think that they have an easier time attracting employees right now. So kind of depends what side of the
but it is hard. I will admit it is hard for a lot of leaders and the boards to adjust from, well, you call it male, pale and stale as well, by the way, in the book, which is great, but adjust from their old technical thinking, going to a board meeting to look at past figures and everything, to have to start looking at what they may think are soft issues, but they're not soft issues, are they?
They're not. And yes, you're right. In Malcolm, again, like it or not, you and I have been have our careers for a while. And let's face it, it was different, right? We did not talk so much about mental health issues. We did not talk so much about, all of those things that we're talking about now, and that we've been expecting to talk about. And I think that's the difference. A CEO today, a board member today, needs to have that generally kind of like really understanding the employees as well as customers and others, and really could speak to them with sincere, I'm trying to find the right words here, but really can give that we care and
compassionate, you mean? Yeah,
compassion. Yes, one of the good C's. So yes, and I think that's you need to take a stand on different things, not on everything, but you need to have those values. You need to have that purpose in place so that you really draw in those employees that you want, in the same way as what are the investors that you want. I often say, well, you get the investors you deserve. You could also say you get the employees you deserve. You get, the customers you deserve. But it's harder. It's a different world that we have today than we're going to have, that we had, back. And I don't think it's coming back. We better get to it.
Yeah. I like to have a bit of a fun with leaders, and I'll say, do you want to be an admired company? And, the older one, so we say the traditional ones then start to think, oh, what, I've increased profits by such and such. No, I said, no, admired company is where people say, I'd like to work for them.
Yeah. And Malcolm, by doing that, you actually do get to, well, you make money, because it is hard to make any money if you don't have any employees, and especially if you don't have, the purpose in place. So people say, yes, this is also both where I want to work, this is where I want to invest, this is where I want to buy from, right? I mean, all of those things fit together. So we need to have that integrated mindset. We need to have that integrated thinking that I'm also talking a bit about in the book.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks, Helle. Now, let's give viewers and listeners details of your URL, your website address, which obviously viewers can see on the screen behind me. But for listeners, let me spell it all out. It's all the W's, competentboards.com, all the W's, competentboards.com. Helle's book, this one, which I am thoroughly enjoying, is called Stewards of the Future, a guide for competent boards, and it's published by Barlow Publishing. I really want to encourage every board member to get it, because there is so much within this book that is going to make sure that you will be that admired business of the future. In episode 2, I'm going to ask Helle about 4 traits of boards that are showing societal commitment. Meanwhile, thanks, Helle, for a great episode 1.
Well, thank you so much, Malcolm. I'm really enjoying it.